Big money Democrats who gave over $1 billion to the campaign of Hillary Clinton have asked the Democrat Party to examine why their candidate lost to some orange guy who basically spent $17 on a hat that said "Make America Great Again" with great spelled G-R-A-T-E. In response, the Democratic Party has prepared this exhaustive report. Quote, "After a searching moral inventory of ourselves and our own actions, we have determined that the reason Hillary Clinton lost the election had nothing to do with ourselves or our own actions. Clearly, the outcome was skewed when Vladimir Putin and an army of angry white men hacked into Hillary Clinton's private emails by using the dark Russian/white man technology of looking over her shoulder while she was using her cell phone. These emails gave voters the false impression that Hillary was actually who she was instead of who she was pretending to be. At this point, Julian Assange kidnapped John Podesta and forced him at gunpoint to become a cynical and corrupt agent of a Democrat machine that no longer cared about the good of the people, but only about consolidating and holding onto power. Podesta's emails were then smuggled to Russia, where Putin released his winged monkeys to distribute them among the populace, causing Hillary to release a loud screeching noise that turned out to be her normal speaking voice. Faced with the prospect of listening to that voice for 4 more years, voters apparently chose to vote for Trump rather than sticking knitting needles up their noses and swirling them around until they destroyed the hearing centers of their brains. At the very same time, FBI Director James Comey was transformed from a man of unshakable integrity who said Hillary was corrupt, but so what, into a sinister figure of evil who said Hillary was corrupt and he was going to investigate her. After extensive thought, we've determined that Comey is a stinky stinker who stinks so bad that stink should be renamed James Comey. All of this combined with the ugly forces of racism that caused people to vote for Barack Obama in 2 elections just so they could then vote for Trump and suddenly spring out of the voting booth and shout, "Ha ha, we tricked you by voting for Barack Obama when we were really racist all along. Also, we hate women." This proves that America is still a country where people won't accept a woman leader even after she spent literally decades preparing for public office by steeping herself in dishonesty and corruption. Also, the Electoral College is bad. Also, the dog ate our ballots. So all in all, there are many reasons that contributing $1 billion to the campaign of Hillary Clinton was pretty much the same as sticking the money in your ear and then lighting it on fire until your brain burned down. None of those reasons had to do with the fact that Hillary Clinton was a terrible candidate, her ideas were destructive, and her team was incompetent. In fact, forget we ever mentioned that. We'd erase it, but we're out of bleach bit. Trigger warning, I'm Andrew Klavan, and this is The Andrew Klavan Show.
I feel hunky-dunky, life is tickety-boo. Birds are winging, also singing hunky-dunky-doo. Ship-shaped, ipsy-topsy, the world is zippity-zing. It's a wonderful day, hurrah, hooray! It makes me want to sing. Oh, hurrah, hooray! Oh, hooray, hurrah!
Hooray, hurrah! It's mailbag day. Yeah, woohoo, woohoo! And there is a Santa pipe. What the hell is that, Austin?
Piper piping.
It's a piper piping. Why does he look like Santa Claus?
Because it is Santa Claus.
Nah, the guy's on drugs. Do we do tests anymore? We've stopped the testing program. All right. All right, it's also the shortest day of the year. So that's it for me. I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, maybe that's not what that means. Yeah, it's a great one. You know what I'm worried about? I'm worried about the Queen of England. The Queen of England is sick. She has canceled her Christmas festivities. I'm a little bit, she's only I think she's 115 years old. I'm a little worried about the Klavanless weekend coming up. That would be the kind of telling end to, after Brexit. That would be the ultimate Brexit, I guess, if she Brexits, the stage. Well, I hope she gets better. I like the Queen. All right, we're going to take a look. After this election, the commentary has been so hysterical that we want to take a look at some calmer commentary. Finally, some of the pundits are beginning to calm down, and we're getting some intelligent insights like this one.
Our long national nightmare is starting, with the Electoral College presumably failing to do its duty as conceived under the Constitution. We won't know officially until the votes are counted on January 6th. Russia's puppet is probably now puppet-elect. So this changes everything. No, it changes nothing. These facts are the building blocks of resistance. He is still elected by a minority vote. He is still wholly unfit for the job, the man you would expect to find if you were searching for the person who could most quickly and efficiently destroy a democracy and maybe a planet. He is still a moving, breathing conflict of interest who will likely be guilty of impeachable high crimes and misdemeanors within hours, if not minutes, of his own inauguration. He is still a textbook case of corrupt self-dealing come to life. He is still the leader of the most remarkable group of public serve-yourself servants ever assembled. And most importantly, Trump is still, at best, the local distributor for Russian dictator Vladimir Putin.
Keith, I love him. I want to play him every day. You know, Keith is like Madonna or Napoleon. You don't even need his last name anymore. It's just like Keith, you know. And but it's okay. He has solved the problem of the end of the universe. Trump is the end of the universe, but he has figured out how we defeat him. Here it is.
Not using one word can be just as forceful as perpetually using another. Never address Trump as president. He is Trump. Just Trump. Never president. The title of president, that we must protect for a happier and more honest time. Resistance means refusal. Resist. Peace.
I think the proper saying is Heil, isn't it? That'll be good. And this is great. The whole side has just been reduced to impotence. You know, and today on Twitter, I woke up and on Twitter, Jesus never existed was trending. Hashtag Jesus never. I could just see Jesus, Jesus be all like, ooh, they say I never existed on Twitter. Ooh, boo. It's a big problem. Anyway, I am getting to something here. I should have mentioned, I forgot to mention, on the mailbag, you can send in your questions live if you subscribe. The mailbag will come after we lose you on Facebook and YouTube, but if you subscribe, you can send in your questions live. We already have questions in the box, but we'll also take them live. Trump is actually bringing some people together in mutual hysteria. Our friend Glenn Beck, I love Glenn Beck, and Samantha Bee, who I can't even tolerate, sat down together and they had this charming discussion. It's cut 9.
My audience is going to think that I am crazy for sitting down with you.
My audience hates your guts.
My audience hates your guts more.
My audience would like to stab you relentlessly in the eye.
Okay. My audience wants to kill me for normalizing a lunatic like yourself.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Okay, now good for Glenn for sitting down to bring us all together, I guess. But, a website called Grabbian News, which is actually a pretty good, sort of aggregator of video and stuff. They put out a list, which is now on Drudge, of the 10 most mortifying media moments of the year. And I don't want to look at all of them, but I want to take a look, go back down memory lane, because some of them are incredibly instructive. And the first one is, in fact, Samantha Bee. This is like number 10 on their list of the mortifying media moments of the year. Here's Samantha Bee.
Once you dust for fingerprints, it's pretty clear who ruined America. White people.
Now, I don't want to mention who invented dusting for fingerprints or inventing things, but this is the big meme going on. I think it was Sinclair Lewis who said something, I'm quoting from memory, but he said something like, when fascism comes to America, it's going to come wrapped in a flag and bearing the cross. In other words, it's going to be this religious fascism. But in fact, when fascism comes to America, it's going to come wearing like a Christmas sweater and talking about evil white people. I mean, this is the kind of fascist reasoning that has become acceptable on the left. They have always been the bigots. The Democrat Party has always been the racist. And now they think they're going to solve all this by turning their racism against white people. And we saw that MTV video yesterday where they're telling white people how they should make resolutions to be better. My problem is this. Here is an actual white person who I don't like, Richard Spencer of the alt-right, this kind of Nazi point of view. Here he is talking about his view of white people.
To be white is to be a striver, a crusader, an explorer, and a conqueror. We build, we produce, we go upward. And we recognize the central lie of American race relations. We don't exploit other groups. We We don't gain anything from their presence. They need us and not the other way around.
Now, my problem with this white people meme that is now going through the media big time, and especially going through the youthful media, is they're the same people. They're the same as this clown. What is your argument against this clown if you're going to accept the premise of racism? His argument is that white people are better. Your argument is that other people are better. That's it? What are you going to do, arm wrestle to decide that? Are you going to fight it out? I mean, if you're going to fight it out, you're going to find yourself outnumbered. That's one thing. But also, like, it's the whole logic that you're accepting. So this is one of the things that, looking back over the year, has been just an absolute boil on the face of the media, that they have accepted and allowed this concept that somehow racism is now okay as long as you turn it against the right people. It's never okay. It's the entire premise that's wrong. And if we don't ditch the premise, I know it's going to be unfair. I know people have been hurt by racism in the past it's never going to be made good. When we develop, the DeLorean technology to go back into the past and right those wrongs, we'll be able to solve that problem. Until then, we're stuck with the way it is, and the only way is to go forward in a new way. Another mortifying media moment from Grabbian News was their coverage of Castro's death, and this was truly appalling.
A declared socialist, he dramatically improved health care and literacy.
Many saw positives: education and health care for all, racial integration.
You see the medicine system they are very proud of.
I'm quite certain that they're not celebrating his death in Cuba, as he brought health care.
Even Castro's critics praise his advances in health care and in education.
Considered, even to this day, the George Washington of his country.
Fidel continued to promote leftist movements in Latin America, where he remained popular until his death.
He was a romantic figure when he came into power. We American young high school kids and kids in those days rooted like mad for the guy.
He will be remembered fondly.
You see donkey carts alongside cars, trucks, and buses in downtown Havana because that's exactly what they'd rather have for transportation.
And he was a voracious reader, very, very smart.
He would be a figure that you'd look up to and say, God, this guy's great.
They love those donkey carts in Cuba, man. It's like, you want a caddy or a donkey cart? Oh, nah, I think the donkey cart works for me, you know. This is another crime the media has been committing through the year, and it's, of course, not just this year, but we're looking back over the mortifying moments of the media this year. The normalizing of this philosophy that is an evil per se, communism, it doesn't matter. Anybody can do good things, Hitler can make the trains run on time. Mussolini can make the trains run on time. Hitler can revivify the German economy. It doesn't matter. If the form of leadership is evil per se, it doesn't matter what good comes of it. Also, the Cuban healthcare thing is a lie. The Cubans have a two-tier healthcare thing. If you're a major member of the Communist Party, you get good health care. Otherwise, you take your donkey cart. And they give you, they bleed you, basically. They give you some leeches. It's just a total lie. The poorest person in America has better health care than middle-class people. There are no middle-class people in communism, because that's one of the things socialism does, is it cuts the middle class. But Castro was a mass murderer. I'm not talking about a war. I'm not talking about people he may have killed during a rebellion against a previously bad government. This is a guy who, if you disagreed with him, if you were gay, if he didn't like you, if you said something or you tried to escape, he lined you up against a wall and shot you. There is no excuse. There's no but after that sentence. There is no but in American English after he killed thousands of people. But doesn't come after. That's not grammar. That's not American grammar. So this is an appalling shame. I mean, this is an evil, evil man who died. I don't want to be standing next to him when the Trump blows. That's all I can tell you. And this is part of our media being stupid, of not understanding that socialism is wrong per se because it takes your time and says that the government owns it. That is called slavery. That is slavery in and of itself. When your time belongs to somebody else, you are a slave. Socialism is a bad per se. Castro was a particularly bad example of it, and it wasn't socialism anyway. It was communism, which is even worse. All right, we're gonna say goodbye. Pause here to say goodbye to our friends on Facebook and YouTube, which means if you just let this go away, you're going to miss the mailbag. And we're going to answer your questions. We will answer them live if you send them in while I'm talking. We will answer them if you have subscribed. You can send them in. The answers are going to change your life. And look at your life. Come on. All right, come on over to thedailywire.com and listen to the rest of the show.